For more on how the events in Egypt impact tourism, I spoke to Yeganeh Morakabati. She's the principal academic at Bournemouth University. I asked her about the potential fallout for businesses there.
If it is terrorism, this has hit the heart of tourism industry in Egypt. We are talking about Sham, we're talking about the Red Sea, and we're talking about the importance of tourism. But also we are talking about the relationship in terms of between tourism and agriculture, or between tourism and industry in Egypt. If you look at the data, there is a strong positive relationship between these sectors. My point is, if this is terrorism act, tourism will go down, and if tourism will go down, other sectors of economy in Egypt will go down. So we are talking about less foreign exchange, less cash in the pot in Egypt, more unemployment, more poverty. And speaking of that region, it is infested with terrorism activity, militant groups, that unemployment will create a breeding ground for them.
You know, the Middle East has had a history of conflict, okay? So this is not a secret. Foreign businesses who operate there understand the conflict well. I'm sure they have their own risk mitigation policies in place. That said, what are foreign companies telling you?
At the moment, of course, they have invested heavily in terms of infrastructure and superstructure. We are talking about investment of around 26 billion in 2013 by around 6,000 businesses in Egypt, some foreign, some domestic, of course. And this is not looking good at the moment for them, given they have invested heavily, and the plan was for them to invest even more by 2017 to increase the size of tourism by 2017-18. For them, situation is not very promising as it stands, especially if we all agree that this was a bombing, and we are thinking of a basically market confidence, or tourist confidence within the region, that as a result will go down. And if this goes down, of course, it will reduce business activity, and it is a loss for the businesses.
But isn't it, I mean, on the flip side of all that, regardless of whether it's a bombing or not at this point, there has been a spotlight shined on the security apparatus, airports specifically. Isn't this a good opportunity to look at infrastructure, see what areas you can upgrade, improve security, and thereby, in the long run, give more confidence to the millions of tourists? And many of them I've spoken to, by the way, they want to go to Egypt. Perhaps it's just a timing issue, but the demand is certainly there. And if you upgrade the infrastructure and you upgrade the security, it's only going to make tourists feel safer, which ultimately is good for tourism, right?
I agree with your point, but you can never increase security enough. If it is a terrorist activity, terrorist groups have shown that they have always found different way of getting into the crowd, and tourism seems to be the soft target for many reasons. So increasing security is good, but is not good enough. We have to deal with the problem at its source rather than dealing with the symptom. And okay, increasing security might deal with the symptom, but we are not dealing with the cause. And this is the very point that is outside the control of the businesses, and it brings the governments into the action.